At the consideration stage, the customer is already looking for a solution. So in the customer's mindset is like, I saw a Facebook post saying conditioner is easy and cheaper than going to the hairdresser. So hairdresser, the customer is now actively narrowing down their choices and doing comparative research. The customer is now looking at various options. Okay, the customer is now looking for solutions to his problem. So they start asking what can actually solve their problem, what can actually make their hair stop coiling. So what does this mean for marketer? The consumer or the customer is ready to learn more about specific products and make comparative investigation. So at this stage, they're already evaluating brands, they are reading reviews, they are seeking proof that your offering is the best choice that they have. They're comparing options. So at this stage, they are not loyal yet. They are still researching. You can see consideration. They're still considering other options. So your job here is to show solutions. Your job here is to build trust. Your job here is to position your product as an option. And how do you do that? You can do that through paid search, retargeting ads, and detailed product content that positions your brand favorably against your competitors and other brands. Okay, so your job here is to position your brand as the best option for them. Okay, now so let's look at the other stage, which is the conversion stage. So at this stage, the customer is thinking, oh, this conditioner uses natural ingredients and is not too expensive. So the customer is convinced and ready to make a purchase. So they need just the final push for them to actually do that. The customer is ready to convert to I mean to being a customer who is looking for a solution, to being a customer who is now ready to be a buyer. So what does this mean for marketers? The consumer is ready to buy and convert their decision into a purchase. So it is the most critical moment in the journey, maximized and confidence maximized. You don't need to beat around the bush at this stage. You need to actually swiftly and precisely convert them into a buyer. So at this stage, as a marketer, you should focus on clear call to actions. You should focus on seamless checkout experiences. They are not going through too many various channels in order for them to make a purchase. You're going to minimize that friction as little as possible. So at this stage, you are focusing on promotional offers, social proof like testimonials to convince them that you are the best brand for them. And in order for you to close the sale effectively at this stage, let's look at the final stage, which is the retention stage. So at this stage, the customer is thinking, oh, after a month, it really makes a difference. I will have to get the same one again. The customer is already thinking that your brand, your product has served them well after using it for a month and it's still serving him well. So in his mind, he's thinking of getting the product again. So the customer is happy about your product and they are looking forward to becoming a repeat buyer and potential brand advocate. So what does this mean for you as a marketer? So you at this point, you are leveraging key tactics like email newsletter, loyalty programs, exclusive content and personalized follow-ups in order to keep them coming again and again, in order to keep the customer engaged, in order to keep the customer excited to buy again, in order to keep the customer informed. So you are doing everything possible to make the customer come again and again. Now you can see the different stages the customer has to go through in order for them to become a loyal advocate, because it doesn't end by them just buying alone. It doesn't end by them just buying your product, and that's it. You need to keep them coming back again and again. You need to make them a loyal advocate, ambassador for your brand. And these are the statics for you to leverage in order for you to achieve that. Okay, so now we've explained the various stages a buyer goes through for them to become a buyer, a loyal advocate. Let's look at the five marketing functions. We are connecting marketing work into simple functions. So just think of it like a full system that moves a customer from a stranger to a buyer to a repeat customer. So digital marketing is not a single activities. It is not a single activities. It is a circle of interconnected functions. These functions are connected and they play a very distinct role in moving audiences through the buyer's journey and driving business growth. And look at the five marketing functions. We have planning, awareness, conversion, retention, and analysis. We are going to explain these in the subsequent slides. Let's look at planning. Okay, so planning is the thinking stage. Planning is the foundation of every successful campaign because without a clear plan, even the best creative and biggest budget will fail to deliver consistent and measurable results. Okay, so this is where everything starts. Planning means you are understanding your audience, you are deciding what to sell, you are choosing your strategy, you are setting your goals. So without planning, marketing can become a guesswork. Okay, so number one, under planning, you analyze your business needs. This is when you understand organization priorities before setting any marketing direction. You understand your goals. What do you want to achieve? What is your goal? What do I need from this campaign? What do I need from my marketing? So you understand it before you set any direction. You research, you research, gather, know who you are selling to, know your competitors, have good grounds on marketing insight in order for you to make a very informed strategy. Okay, so you develop objective, you define clear and measurable goals that aligns with your business outcomes, you set goals, you communicate, you align all your stakeholders so that everyone understands the strategy and their roles in achieving your plan. Then you set your budget. Okay, so planning basically is, you know who you're selling to, you have an understanding, who am I selling to, what problems are we going to solve, what content are we going to create, how much budget do we have. you know Planning is essential. This is the first stage. You are thinking before doing anything. If you don't plan, you will waste money and time. So these are the various things you need to do before you execute your marketing campaign. Who you're selling to, you understand, okay, what kind of content are we going to create, how will everybody get involved in order for us to achieve our marketing goal, what budget are we looking at, how do we allocate resources strategically across channels and activities. Planning is the first thing first before any other marketing, before you think of any other marketing direction. Let's look at the second one, the second function, awareness. So, awareness, this is when you're getting attention. This is when you want your brand to be visible and memorable to the right people. So, it requires you thinking, strategic media planning, and a deep understanding of your audience. So, this is where people first discover your brand. You are trying to answer, how do people know we exist? How do we get people to see us? Okay, this is when you are leveraging social media content, you are leveraging ads, you are leveraging influencers, you are leveraging SEO to actually drive traffic to your brand. Okay, because the truth is, if there is no awareness, there is no. So let's look at the third function, which is conversion. Conversion, this is when you're making sales. This is when you want to get people to take an action. Is it for them to buy? Is it for them to sign up? Is it for them to order? Is it for them to call? So the conversion function focuses on turning engaged audiences into customers. So it requires precision targeting, compelling offers, and continuous testing to maximize ROI. Okay, so this is when your marketing becomes sales. You are identifying media opportunities. Okay, what channels can we leverage on in order for us to convert our customers into buyers, in order for us to convert strangers into buyers. So you're going to set goals. At this stage, you are setting goals. You are defining measurable conversion targets that aligns with your business objective. You are developing your offer. How can I make my brand different from my competitors? What compelling propositions that would motivate them to buy? How What kind of content are we going to put out in order to convince them to come to us? How do we leverage paid and ads? How do we leverage retargeting to, get people coming again and again and again? So at this stage, you want to convert strangers to potential buyers. So now let's look at the fourth function, which is the retention. So at this stage, at this in this fun for this function, you want to keep your customers. And this is where many businesses fail, because the truth is, getting customers to come back again and again and again requires a very strong strategy, because it is cheaper to keep customers than to find new ones. So retention is about maximizing customer lifetime value. You are keeping an existing customer, you are leveraging strategies to keep your existing customers, to keep them coming over and over and over again. So how do you do this? This is when you identify buyer needs. You understand what your customers expect after purchase, so that you can meet and exceed their needs again and again. You know what they need, you know what triggers them, and you look for strategies in order to exceed their expectations and their needs. And how do you do that? You develop nurturing strategy. You look for ways you can nurture them. You look for create structured touch points that keep customers engaged post purchase. You exceed their expectations, you provide additional value. You can give them discount, you can give them loyalty perks, you can give them exclusive content, personalized recommendations, in order for to keep them coming. Then you also monitor post sale activity. You track their behavior, you track their sentiment, in order to identify churn risks before they even happen. Okay? Alright.